Hi guys, this is Emily Cupelli for the Alleyway Stamps, and for today's card I'm going to stamp all the images in their brain freeze stamp set in white cardstock, except for the cherries and the phrase. I will stamp them several times using my archival ink in sepia. Then I'm going to color the cone of the ice creams with my antique linen distress ink, and I will add some dimension with my tea dye, adding it to the edges and bottom part of the cones. I'm using my round blending tool, but since there are pretty small images, you can use your sponge daubers as well. Now I will color my chocolate cupcakes with my vintage photo. I will add more color on the top of the cupcakes and less on the bottom, using a lighter hand to get a gradient effect and add some shadows and dimension. I will add just a bit of this same ink to the lowest part of the ice cream cones. Then I will color the cone of the snow cones using the Stormy Sky Distress ink, which is a grayish blue, adding it very lightly only to the edges of the cones. Now I will put some distress stickles in clear rock candy over my craft sheet and add to it dry distress glitter in the same color, as well as a few drops of my distress ink refill in spiced marmalade. I ended up using about 3 drops. I suggest you to use more stickles than I used, or use another glue instead, like glossy accents, multimatte medium, or a clear embossing paste. I will mix it until I get an even color and add it to the snow cones. For this part, I stamped the snow cones again. I will put the mix over it without smoothing it out to get some texture and make it look more like ice. At the end, my mix was a bit too dry, which is why I should have used more glue to prevent the glitter falling out once the card is finished. Since I do not have a refill for the picked raspberry, I will put the ink over my craft sheet directly from the ink pad. Then I will add some multi-medium matte and mix it until I have an even color. You can use your embossing paste or texture paste, but I do not have any of those, so I simply use what I have. Then I will add the mix to my ice creams, which I already started fussy cutting. Again, I don't want to smooth it out to get some nice texture. After I had my ice creams ready, the glue that was left on my sheet was pretty dry, so you could use a disposable slick surface like a disposable dish if you don't want to deal with the glue drying over your sheet. For the candies, I used the distress marker in worn lipstick in the areas I wanted the color, adding more color to the outer edges. Then I blended it with my wing of Stella in clear and dragged the color to the areas I wanted in light pink. This will blend the ink as well as add a lot of shimmer to it. For the lollipop, I will do basically the same. Anyhow, I do not have any orange distress marker, so I will use my distress ink pad in spiced marmalade with my round blending tool, adding more ink to the edge, so that it looks lighter in the center. With my wing of Stella in clear, I will blend the ink from the center to the edge, so that I do not drag more ink to the center to keep it lighter. Now I will take the small heart in the set and I will stamp it repeatedly and randomly in the liner of the cupcakes, using my archival ink in sepia. I will color the liners with a Stormy Sky. I will use a pretty heavy hand to make it pretty dark, but still trying to leave the center a bit lighter than the edges. With my Signo Broad white gel pen, I will color the inside of the hearts to make them pop. You can use a gel pen in any color you prefer or even a marker. Then I will go over the outlines of the hearts with my Gathered Twigs Distress Marker to remove the white that I could have got on the lines of the hearts and make them pop even more. With a brownish red gel pen, I created some sprinkles over the cupcakes. I like to use this brownish red gel pen when using a brown or craft paper instead of a brown pen because it looks more like a reddish brown at the end while the brown one looks more black. I will add them randomly, trying to do not use the same angle with those that are side by side. Then I will add very slowly and carefully some glossy accents only to the chocolate sprinkles. This will give them a glossy effect as well as some dimension. I'm helping myself with my tweezers to have more control with where I touch the paper and don't ruin the glossy accents. After all my elements are dry, I will fussy cut them and go around them with my Gathered Twigs Distress Marker. Now I will stamp the letter Sherry on the set to fill some empty spaces on the card. I will stamp it in different angles where I have the largest spaces using the sepia archival ink. Since I already mounted the elements using foam tape, I will move them as I need to get a good impression of the cherry and make sure I do not get ink on any of them. You could use the hearts if you want. Anyhow, these cherries along with the bright colors I used give the card a summer feeling which I love. I'm using regular cardstock in 110 pounds and works perfectly, but you can use watercolor paper if you prefer. Once I'm happy with the amount of cherries, I will go ahead and glue all my pieces to the main panel. I will use the glossy accent since I have it already on hand, but you can use any glue or adhesive you prefer. I will stamp the phrase "It was a treat" on a white strip of cardstock and cut the end in a fishtail shape to make it look like a banner. Then I will stick it to the panel using more foam tape. Since this card already had a lot of dimension with all the different elements I used, you could skip the foam tape and use only glue. Now I will add the liquid pearls in rouge to my cherries. I created some big pearls with it. Once it dried, the pearls I created collapsed. I assume it was because of the amount of liquid pearls I used, so you can try to make little pearls and build them up as they dry. I love this dull red on this specific card though. Also, I will add glossy accents to my candies. This will create a pretty effect over the wing of Stella and will make the candies look a bit more realistic. I will not put it over the white areas on the candies, since I want them to be white and my glossy accents is a bit yellowish. Because the glitter on these snow cones is too dry and might fall out, I will add glossy accents to them as well. Since the glitter gave the snow cones so much texture and I'm not trying to smooth the glossy accents I'm putting over them, they will keep some of that texture which I really like. I will color the borders of an A2 white card base with my evergreen bow distress ink. I will make the bottom part darker and the upper part lighter, creating an ombre effect. I will not color the center because it will be covered with the main panel I already created. As you can see, I stick the card to the table with masking tape to make sure it will not move and get ink on the back of the card. I will keep adding ink until I get the desired darkness and remove the tape after I'm done. Now I will glue the panel to the card base with glossy accents, but again, you can use the adhesive you prefer. Then I will add some liquid pearls in white opal to the stick of the lollipops. This will make them white as well as give them some dimension, but you can use a white gel pen if you prefer. To tie everything together, I'm gonna use the same evergreen bow to color the leaves of the cherries. I will do this using the wing of Stella in clear without adding any shadows or dimensions, since they are so small. As I mentioned before, I will add more liquid pearls to my cherries to fill the holes they got in the center once they dried. I'm going to add it as even and smooth as possible. Here you can see all the dimension and glossiness I got with all the different elements and supplies I used. I had a lot of fun trying all the different techniques and totally loved the final result. I hope you enjoyed my first video tutorial as part of the Alleyway Stamps design team. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did and subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. Don't forget to visit the Alleyway Stamps blog as well as my blog to see the full list of supplies and more close-up pictures. I'll see you next time. Bye!